Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have Star Dusk Legionaire, and I got to give a huge shout out to Fox Forge Toys for making this review possible. As you can see, it comes in a collector style packaging, and on the back of the box, we do have Wave 1, all three figures there, and then we do have a read-up information on the back as well, so feel free to pause it if you'd like to read it, but let's go ahead and get this Legionaire out of the package. One thing you're going to notice straight out of the package is that these guys have helmets. If they're going to be in space, they're going to have some nice space helmets. We got this sculpted pretty nicely helmet. Red visors, some red accents on like looks like the filters. And it's cast in all black plastic. Looking nice. Oh, we got red on the back even. So they aren't scared to add a little paint to their details of the actual helmets and stuff, which is cool. Inside it's just sort of empty. Diving into the firearms, we got a sidearm here. We got a pistol. We got some red and green paint accents on here. A lot of sculpted in detail. Could definitely use a little bit of a wash. We got a muzzle hole. I wonder if stuff can pour it into there. But, you know, very simple. We got a peg on the side. Talk about sci-fi weaponry. We got ourselves like a plasma shotgun thing that looks wild. Definitely a lot of sculpt work in there. We got the red, green, and yeah, I guess there's really the red and green accents. Got a little hole in the front. Nothing that you can plug in a muzzle flash into. But, I mean, they weren't scared to add paint to both sides. Got a little peg. Again, could use a little wash just to sort of bring out some of the sculpted in detail. But definitely cool. I mean, their sci-fi stuff is definitely sci-fi. An up-close look at the Legionaire, and the head sculpt is pretty awesome. I like that they sculpted on the eyebrows. The eyes are just white with black pupil. We got this like Ninja Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat mask going on, which is sculpted pretty nicely. We got the balaclava looking good as well. The armor is done in this like black matte finish, which looks pretty awesome. The fact that it's not overly glossy and stuff like that. The arms look good. The elbow pads, lots of sculpt work throughout. Little red paint accents. The fingers and hands are painted. And I like this whole wrist area. So it's like this locking mechanism on some of these spacesuits where, you know, it locks around the wrist and keeps the pressure or something in there. You know what I'm talking about. You see it in some of these sci-fi movies and stuff. We got some grenades or shotgun shells or something. A little bit of extra red paint splattered on there. Some red logo. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe intercom or communicator. Got some things on the back. I guess these are where the straps would go because it's going feeding into the back on this one. Nothing there. Got some red accent in the ab area. Lots of sculpted hard edges for this sculpt, which looks pretty good. You know, it's that sci-fi armor, stormtrooper-esque. Got a texture in the belt. Got some brown pouches. Brown pouches could use a little bit of a wash. And you know, just overall, so it's a nice looking figure. Definitely a stylized figure. You know, all these artists and stuff are out there, and you got some grenades on the thighs and stuff. So these are all going to be a little bit different. You know, when you're looking at different toy lines out there, this definitely gives off some, this really reminds you of some like Exo Squad stuff. Growing up with the Exo Squad and the pilots and stuff, that's what it really reminds me of. And definitely is pretty freaking cool. Some of the stuff could definitely use a wash. Got, again, more paint. Look at like all the sculpt work and paint work on the feet. We even got the soles painted black. Would have been sweet if these things had like magnets in the feet. That would have like taken it to a whole different level as well. Have like magnetized feet. But overall, this thing is a fun looking figure. Now, some of you out there are probably wondering, well, Arthur, how well does the Star Dusk figures articulate? Well, we're going to dive into it right now. And his head can look down that far, can look up that far. So this much range of motion in the head looking up and down. Full 360. You can get a little bit of attitude in there. Arms can go up, I'd say about that far. But if we take off the shoulder pads, because they peg in on both sides, You can get them up there, way up there. And arms do full 360. We got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that work really well. Really, really well. The hands up and down, rotate, looking pretty good. Now full rotation with the actual shoulder piece too, because that's attached to the shoulder. We get the ab, which get the hula hoop motion there, and then it doesn't really arch forward that much. There's not really much of an ab crunch. It sort of stops right there. Going back, I mean, without it, yeah, you can sort of see it. It's sort of the motion you get. There is no waist swivel, nothing going on there. Can do the full Van Damme. Get thigh cuts. Double jointed knees. No boot cut, but we do have ankle pivot and bend. Now the DreadOps Legionaire definitely looks like something that crawled out of like a spacecraft. It is a very, very cool looking figure. Definitely has a lot of cool details in the spacesuit elements. And even all geared up, it doesn't look bad. I got the pistol pegged in on this side. You can peg it on the other hip. And then I have the shotgun pegged in on the back. The helmet's on. He looks ready for some combat or to be dropped onto a planet. But it looks pretty awesome. Now, one thing I do have a gripe on. Now, his helmet will not fall off because it sort of caps on, you know. So I'm shaking it. But my problem with it is the helmet is very loose. As you can see, it just sort of like flops around. Like it's in place, like it's connected so I can hold him by his helmet and everything. It just wish it was a little bit snugger for it isn't so floppy. But it does look like it has a lot of motion in there, but that's really, yeah, it's just the looseness of the helmet. For Fox Forge Toys' first line of figures, and this honestly being the first couple figures from the Star Dusk series, like, these figures are pretty fun. They're definitely stylized. I see a lot of customizing potential out of these, and I could see where this line can grow and evolve. I mean, they already have some aliens lined up, which look pretty neat. But, I mean, look at the type of posing I can get out of this. I got him all crunched down really nicely, holding up his shotgun, ready to blast some enemies, and it works. Like, they're pretty neat figures. Definitely sci-fi vibe. And I like some of the posability out of it. I wish the ab crunch worked a little bit better. Maybe some sort of like swivel in the hip or like the ball joint down into the ab to hip area, which would have been cool. Just giving a little bit more articulation. Like there's little nitpicks, but again, for their first couple figures from the line, they're going to learn, they're going to evolve. That's just what a company does. And this looks pretty cool. Now, I am having fun posing around this DreadOps Legionaire figure, and honestly, I had some Super Action Stuff accessories. I just used some sticky tack, put it on the end of the pistol, and now he looks like he's blasting, you know, a laser beam or whatever. You see the orange sticky tack. And overall, they're fun figures. Definitely kid-friendly. You could definitely have fun with them with your kids. Good entry point collecting action figures, and you could just really have a blast with them. Now, little things that I would like to see would definitely have like a ball joint right here, so you get a little bit more articulation down here, better ab crunch. Some of the joints are a little loose, you can sort of see in the hands, and then I would have liked to have seen maybe all different hands, or at least trigger finger hands that can go through the trigger. So, I mean, these are all little nitpicky, just things that I would like to see in the future. The helmet, again, being loose the way it is, I would have liked to see that be a little bit more snug. But they're definitely on the right track when it comes to figures. I mean, they're fun figures. And, again, good entry points for your kids to play around with. Now it's time for some size comparison. We got ourselves G.I. Joe Classified Scarlet from that horrible Snake Eyes movie, but the figure's pretty awesome. We also got ourselves Sky from the Hasbro Victory Royale series Fortnite figures. And for anybody that might be complaining that they were just female figures, let's go ahead and add in a Black Series Moff Gideon. So he could be like a little trooper escort for Moff Gideon, which looks pretty cool. And then we got the credited version Mando. And as you can see too, the helmet is pretty massive compared to other figures in the scale. But again, it's a stylized art form, I would assume. Just like, you know, your Plunderlings are stylized. These guys are stylized as well, but they still can work. And take these out of the mix. We got some more comparison to do. Let's go ahead and bust out a Night Ops Steel Brigade from Action Force. Then we got ourselves Street Gomez. So in the end, the Dread Ops Legionnaire from the Star Dusk figure line is a fun figure. It's fun to pose around, and it has some impressive articulation in areas that I was not expecting. And honestly, it's going to be awesome to see how this line evolves and how they take some of the feedback from reviews and just customers in general and what they're going to fine tune and tweak on their figures moving forward. Because some of the things I mentioned, they're little minute things, but it'd be cool to see them implemented in the line going forward. And I think this is definitely a line to keep an eye on. It's great to have some fresh figures coming out from different companies versus the same regurgitated stuff over and over again. And honestly, the art style they used, it's pretty fun. And that sums up my unboxing and review of Fox Forge Toys Star Dusk Dread Ops Legionnaire. If you guys are enjoying my content, hit that like button. New to my channel, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel evolve and grow. Make sure you guys hit the silver bell notification so you know when I post up a new video. And when I go live for State of the Art, I'm going to have Fox Forge Toys on as a guest so we can talk about this Stardust line and how it evolved and originated and all that good stuff. So stay tuned to State of the Art. And I want you guys to make sure you guys show some love. If you want to check out what other figures come from Fox Forge Toys, the links and socials are all down below. But most importantly, I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting. Have a beautiful day.